morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are watching the Paris Fintech Forum Communities video interview series. I'm Elliott Gotkine, and today I'm joined by the first Deputy Governor of Banque de France, Denis Beau. Great to have you with us.
Hello, Elliott. Happy to be with you.
Okay, lovely. So before we get cracking, let's learn a little bit more about Banque de France. So I think most viewers know that the European Central Bank is overall in charge of monetary policy for all EU members. Obviously, France and the French Central Bank and others contribute. But so what's the main focus for Banque de France? Is it mainly regulation, printing banknotes, things like that? Give us a sense of what the Banque de France now does.
Well, thank you, Elliott, for this question. Banque de France is an independent institution, a central bank, which is actually a member of the Euro system, which is composed of the ECB and the national central banks of the countries which have adopted the Euro. And from that perspective, we contribute to all the missions that have been tasked to the ECB and the Euro system as a whole. We are also a member of the single supervision mechanism of banks at European level. More concretely, we have three main missions: ensure monetary stability, ensure financial stability, and third mission, provide a range of services to businesses and individuals to help them preserve their financial soundness and financial inclusion.
Okay, and of course there are perhaps a unique set of challenges right now for the global economy and in Europe in particular, along with the very real possibility of recession. How has the macroeconomic environment affected your work?
Well, I mean, in different ways, of course, the macro economic and financial environment has a bearing on our monetary stability mandate. So it's important to understand the consequences of the changes on the stability of prices or inflation. And as everyone has seen, this is an important topic right now, which has led to a change in the monetary policy stance. The second bearing is on our assessment and surveillance of financial stability. So it leads us to undertake a number of analyses to understand the consequences on financial institutions, intermediaries, in terms of provision and services, and overall on the stability of the financial system. So that's in the short run, I mean, how it has the change in macroeconomic and macro financial environment, so the impact it has on our activities.
And I understand Banque de France has been experimenting with a central bank digital currency, or CBDC. Tell me more about that.
Well, maybe a little bit of background on the rationale for these experiments, and we have been involved in experiments for wholesale digital currencies, as well as, I mean, the investigation undertaken by under the aegis of the ECB for a so-called digital euro. The background is as follows. Digital technologies such as AI, API, mobile apps, and smart contracts, I mean DLTs, are transforming finance in enabling new developments such as open banking, banking as a service, tokenized and decentralized finance. And these technologies and their associated services have the potential to significantly improve the functioning of the financial system, but they also bring new risks in challenging the current equilibrium of the financial ecosystem in terms of actors, settlement assets, and infrastructures. some of those risks from a security perspective in particular are already material, like cyber risk. So what will be this new equilibrium that is changing? It's up to the market forces to decide. But as a central bank, given our mandate, our role is to make sure that the financial system evolve in a positive way, both in terms of efficiency and safety. And from that perspective, we have two tools. Fundamentally, regulation to facilitate this evolution, and the services we provide. Fundamentally, we provide central bank money services to financial intermediaries and to the public more broadly. And so those experiments that we have been undertaking since 2020 are there for us to test new ways to provide central bank money given the changes and in particular the tokenization of financial assets that we see developing. We have run 9 experiments since 2020, and we have planned and starting 3 new experiments. The purpose of those experiments with financial intermediaries is to test our capacity to provide central bank money in tokenized form on DLTs, to facilitate the settlement of financial assets and to facilitate cross-border payments. So that's, I mean, the experiments we have been undertaking in the wholesale space. Of course, we are also, as a member of the Eurosystem, so under the aegis of the ECB, we are also contributing to and we are deeply involved in the investigation phase, which is underway regarding so-called digital euro, which is, I mean, more for the day-to-day life and for all citizens.
Okay, so we've heard a bit about Banque de France. Let's now get to know Denis a little bit better. So, Denis, you joined, I think, Banque de France in 1986, ultimately becoming first deputy governor in 2017. Did you always want to be a central banker?
Actually, yes. I mean, that was, I've spent my whole career, I mean, at the Banque de France. Actually had the opportunity to be exposed and to contribute to the 3 main types of activities that the Banque de France has. Working for Banque de France led me to be also seconded to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and also to the BIS, where I was secretary of a G10 committee focusing on market infrastructure and payment issues. I mean, at that time it was called the CPSS. Now it's called the CPMI. And I say that was that career path. I mean, has been really interesting and challenging and rewarding for me in particular, because it gave me the opportunity to be exposed and to participate to multilateral collaboration and exchanges between central banks and banking supervisors, and to contribute to the development of international supervisory standards for banks and market infrastructures, and it has been really interesting and rewarding for me.
And what do you do in your downtime, Denis, if you actually have any? Do you have particular, hobbies or things that you get up to?
The time I do not dedicate to work is mainly dedicated to my family, and in terms of leisure, I mean, I I like practicing sports and of different sorts. But I mean, I would love having more free time, generally speaking. But that's what I do.
Okay, lovely. So look, a key part of this interview is to get your take on the future of finance. But first, we're going to take a very quick break, after which we're going to continue our conversation with first Deputy Governor of Banque de France, Denis Beau. Welcome back, and don't forget, if you're not already a full member of our community, everything you need to join can be found at www.parisfintechforum.com. And now, Denis, let's talk about the future of finance. Okay, so Denis, with all these things that are going on in the world right now, we've seen the euro fall to pretty much more or less parity with the dollar, for example. We've seen inflation, interest rates and debts surging. Where do you see things heading right now? Is recession in Europe inevitable?
Well, I mean, our assessment of the macroeconomic environment is as follows. I mean, the economic and financial consequences of the war in Ukraine has really changed the perspective, and is actually a shock that the economists have qualified initially as a slow inflation shocks, meaning waiting on the rate of growth of the activity and pushing up prices. What as I mean this shock is having its impact and is developing. I mean, this slow inflation shocks is morphing in possibly a stagflation one. So, but for the time being, I mean, the forecasts are in terms of activity focused on a slowdown, a significant slowdown of activity, not a recession. It's a risk, but it's not the central scenario. And what we see at European level is also true for the French economy.
Okay, and we talked a bit about CBDCs before. China has, seems quite advanced on that front. You've talked a little bit about the experiments that both the Banque de France and the European Central Bank are doing with the digital euro. Do you get a sense that central banks, aside from China's, have been left behind? Are they all kind of trying to catch up with China? Or is everything kind of just going at the pace that, other central banks want to be going at?
No, I don't think. I mean, we are in some sort of catch-up game. I mean, the rationale for central banks for investigating a change in the way they provide central bank money and the services associated to that is related to a transformation of the financial system due to the new technologies and digital technologies. It brings potential benefits and also risks, both in terms of efficiency and stability. A digital currency it can be a tool to address those risks among a toolbox that are available to public authorities, and I mean the first tool is regulation and associated supervision. So I think it's totally, from my perspective, normal, logical that many, if not all, central banks around the world are investigating the potential and the modalities of a digital currency, of the provision in digital forms of central bank money. This being said, I mean DCB is leading, I mean, the work of the Eurosystem, and there are a number of issues to be investigated. To make sure if the decision to launch a digital currency were decided, that it provides all the benefits that are expected from it without creating undue shocks. I mean, in particular on the banking system. I think it's important also to separate. I mean, there are two types of investigations that are underway and experiments. Those which are focusing on the wholesale, I mean, meaning the exchanges between financial intermediaries, and those which are focusing on the use of digital money by the public at large.
Right, and of course, the public at large, excuse me, has still been, embracing to a large degree digital assets. Certainly, certain sections of the public, digital assets and tokenization and the like. We've obviously just recently seen the blow up of FTX, for example, as the latest, let's say, example of risks in that system. Where do you stand in terms of the opportunities and risks in the private space and the private sector of digital assets and tokenization?
What we have seen is the development of a crypto asset ecosystem using, I mean, new technologies. I mean, that's one way or one use case, or there are a number of use cases associated with that related to crypto assets, and I mean there can be benefits in particular in terms of efficiency associated with the development of that ecosystem. What is important from my central banker perspective, given the mandate of the institution I represent, is that potential improvements in terms of efficiency do not come at the expense of instability, financial stability, risk in more general terms. So for us, from my perspective, the development of the crypto ecosystem is not an issue in itself, but it has to develop on within a confidence framework, and from that perspective, regulation is really important. And I think that the events that you were referring to, and the difficulties, if not the failures, provide fuel to and incentives to develop now rapidly and a coherent and adapted regulatory framework to frame the development of that of the crypto ecosystem.
Okay, well, we look forward to seeing how that unfolds. But it's time now, Denis, for our round of rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got 90 seconds to get through these questions. Just one word answer is ideal, and we'll get through as many of them as we can before the alarm on my phone goes off. So away we go. What fintech segment do you think has the biggest potential over the next 5 years?
Payments.
What is the biggest pain point in your everyday financial life that you would like to see resolved?
Cyber risk.
Are we at the beginning, middle or end of the fintech wave?
Certainly the beginning.
Does the Banque de France have a metaverse strategy?
We are monitoring metaverse developments.
Okay. All right. Have EU and US regulations kept pace with all the new possibilities in the financial industry?
They have to keep pace with those developments. So,
how would you describe non-fungible tokens, NFTs? A scam, B, an interesting concept, or C, a part of the future that we really don't want to miss out on?
An interesting concept.
Have you personally ever invested in crypto?
No.
Are physical points of sales part of the future of finance?
Yes.
On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most likely, how likely is it that in the next 10 years, one of the neobanks will be as profitable as a top-tier legacy bank? Oh, you can answer that one.
Well, 55.
5 out of 10. Okay, lovely. Well, look, I'm afraid, Denis, we're out of time for the rapid fire round and also for our conversation. So I really just want to thank you, especially for your extra patience given some of the technical issues we'd had. Thank you, First Deputy Governor of the Banque de France, Denis Beau, for joining me today. Thank you.
Thank you.
And for everyone watching, we will be back again next week with another big name from the world of finance and technology. We do hope you'll be able to join us again then. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the Paris Fintech Forum YouTube channel and to follow us on Twitter at Paris Fin Forum. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.